Guys, welcome back to this week's episode of The Regular. Home groups are officially launched. Woo, we are actually all in a home group together. Our second season, we're going strong. And so if you guys are watching this as part of your home group, we just want to say hello, home groups. We're so glad that you chose to spend your time watching us banter about Proverbs. So why don't you guys introduce yourself? I think most people know you, but
I'll let you go first.
Thanks. I was going to try to say some dumb joke. Hey guys, I'm Colin, and I guess I'm part of the team. What do I have to say, like what I do, or just any
resident bass player?
Resident bass player. Married to the one and only Brecklin Olaf, and yeah, I don't know if there's anything else I do.
You're just voluntold.
I'm voluntold a lot.
He does everything the Brecklin tells him, hey, you have to do this.
This is true. This is true. Like this podcast.
Like this podcast, yes. I am Joshua, the middle school director. Not much to say about me.
What?
Okay, resident.
I've just been here like quite a bit. So it's just,
you've been on a lot of episodes.
What's up, guys? I'm back.
I'm back again. Okay, well, a lot of things have happened. We actually didn't have the podcast last week. So one thing that's happened was Awakening, which both of you guys were at.
Yes.
So quick Awakening recap for us.
It was sick. If you don't know what Awakening is a youth conference that we take all our kids to, like middle school, high school. It is total chaos, as you would imagine that youth conference is, but it is totally so awesome. We went, then we did K1 Speed. If you've been to K1 Speed, you know how much fun it is. I beat Dylan, so I am.
If you don't know what that is, it's go-karts.
Yes.
Go-kart racing.
Thank you. Colin. Yes, it's go-kart
He's like,
racing.
that doesn't
Yes.
matter. What
Yes.
matters is that I won.
I beat Dylan. Okay, last year when we went, or I guess 2 years ago, Dylan beat me because I was in front and Cole. So I was in front, Cole was behind me, and the last turn, Cole just smacks the back of my car, and me and him are pinned, and then Dylan just overtakes us.
That sounds about right.
And I was like, there is no way. Like, why would you do that, Cole? So I've been waiting to come back and beat Dylan, and I easily beat Dylan this time because I did not have Cole behind
Cole
me
wasn't there
to hit me in the last turn. So
You've been thinking about this for the last 2 years?
Yes, I have. I've been praying for the day that we went back to K1 Speed. So that's kind of how Awakening was. I beat Dylan.
that was the takeaway. If you sent your kids to youth camp, the takeaway was Josh won K1 Speed.
It was awesome. Kids encountered the Jesus. Their lives were changed.
It was what, 70
great.
people went to Sacramento to the conference.
Yep. We had probably like 55-ish kids and like 15 leaders. Yeah, it was like 70 of us went
It's awesome.
to Sacramento. It was pretty awesome.
Was that our biggest group?
It was our biggest group. Yeah, it was crazy to
So
see.
cool.
The first year we went, we took 16 people. Wow. Second
Total?
year, total 16.
Oh my gosh.
Last year, I think it was like 55. And then this year, 70. So
Wow,
yeah, it just
that's
keeps growing.
crazy.
Pretty crazy.
That's so cool. Well, podcast today in the real news is we have a new series that we're in. So we just wrapped up Like Jesus, which you heard me say a lot of times was like my favorite series. But we're going into something, we haven't really done this before. The series is called The Good Life. And what we're doing is we're doing a deep dive going through the book of Proverbs, which we haven't done. Like as a church, we haven't gone through the book of Proverbs before. And the whole idea is that we get to live the good life when we're actually seeking the Lord's wisdom and applying that to our life. Because Proverbs is full of how-tos, tips and tricks, like the best way to kind of go about how to live your life and how to do it wisely. And so that's kind of what we're jumping into. We had Michael's message on the first week, which was so incredible, especially I think for reframing our idea of Proverbs. Like it's not rules, it's actually like it's a loving note from a father to his kids of how to do things well and how to live the good life. And then last week with Cole, so it's been a really great last 2 weeks. And one of the reasons that I wanted to have you two here in particular is Colin's actually been in a Bible study that, like, not the last 2 weeks. How long have you been in it?
A couple monthrough. I mean, I think they've been doing it longer, but
Yeah.
I've been in for like
You've been in it a couple months.
multiple weeks for sure.
And you guys have been going through the books of through the book of Proverbs pretty slowly, like really chewing on each bit of it. And so I'm curious, like, how do you feel like that's affected your life? What's the Bible study about? What has it been like?
So yeah, it's been really fun. And then once this series came out, it was like, oh, like we're already doing this.
Yeah.
This is like awesome.
Yeah, it's so cool.
So basically every week, we read a whole chapter all together. So it's kind of like, one person will read, 2 verses, the next person reads 2 verses, and it just goes around. So we all read a whole chapter of the book, and then we all just kind of like just sit for a second usually and just kind of wait on God to like, hey, what was highlighted? What do we have questions about? What made no sense? Like, cause it's pretty diverse. It's like, I think the youngest guy we have is 18 or 19.
Mm-hmm.
And then I haven't asked the oldest age in the room,
Sure.
but it's, my guess is it's over 60.
Okay.
So obviously a lot of life experience in
Yeah.
contrast between those 2 ages. And it's just so fun to hear like something that one person asks is like, I have no idea what this means. Like, guys, what does that mean at all? And someone's like, oh, that's obviously this. And it's like, is it? And then we deep dive into like, what does that word actually mean? Someone Blue Letter Bible it, like, and then we just get into like a lot of nitty gritties of, oh, I actually like think this is a heart posture. I don't think he's literally meaning this, or no, he's definitely literally meaning this. Like, this is how you create peace in really hard situations in my life, blah, 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 blah. So like it gets really vulnerable and like just really powerful, and a lot of amazing conversations and groups and friends have kind of evolved out of this Bible study.
That's
so
awesome.
It's been fun. So that's what the Bible study has been. So I just keep going back at 7 a.m. every Thursday.
Dang, that would be a Josh Johnson schedule. Would be
He's like, before the world awakens, we're going to read the Bible.
That's amazing.
Great.
Well, okay, so question for both of you guys is more like overview of Proverbs. What has it been like for you guys applying I think on our slide it says like applying ancient wisdom to our everyday life. So what has it been like for you, Colin? You've been in this for the last couple of months. What's it been like? How have you seen that affect your everyday life, living out of the books of Proverbs? And then also, Josh, for you, like, how has that been like applying it to your life?
You want to go first?
Yeah, I can go first.
Go for it.
I'm going to read a verse. Proverbs 1:7. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. I feel like I love like Proverbs because it talks, about like fearing the Lord. And, I was even reading this morning, it's talking about like discipline. And, it's something that like I feel like sometimes we forget to have the fear of the Lord as much as we should, and I feel like every time I read Proverbs, it kind of like it gets me back to like the fear of the Lord is the beginning of all understanding. You know what I mean? And it's like it's such kind of a simple thing, but also like thing that I, especially me talking for myself, I feel like I forget, like every so often. So it's nice to read and just be like, oh, like I need to have the fear of the Lord in me, So it really is like something that I love about Proverbs, kind of like recentering that like fear of the Lord in me. But then also like it's so like practical, and it has so many, like little things that it talks about. And I kind of even love like what you're talking about of like you having that Bible study with different, generations of people. Because sometimes like when I'm reading it, I'm thinking to myself like, oh, does he mean like literally? Or does he mean like heart posture? Like, what is he talking about here? So it's kind of cool that you have like that experience, to have other people around you to like talk about it. And, Proverbs is such a good, easy book, but also like challenging book that we can be like, oh, like I need to be doing better at this.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, yeah.
I love it. One of the things that Michael said in his message was Proverbs is a father's invitation back to wisdom and integrity. And not a book of rules or laws, but the heart of a good father inviting us into a life that's truly good.
Yeah.
And I think that's like that actually, the picture of that and the way that ties into the fear of the Lord, because I think so many of us it's hard to imagine like, oh, it's good fear. Like it's not bad fear. Yeah. But it's actually like awe and wonder and coming back to like, wow, this is who you are. Yeah. Not in like a scary, like he's like a bad dad. Yeah. But he's a good father, and actually the invitation to come back to that, and to come back into awe and wonder and fear of the Lord, I think is such a good reminder for us in our like day-to-day life.
Yeah. you just brought up Michael, so I'm gonna go there for a second.
Yeah, do it.
How he kind of brought in that story about his son coming into the bed and just like wanting to like
Yes.
play hide and seek. That wrecked me. Just because we're moving into the whole parenting season, and so like the father message of like reshaping Proverbs to just be an instruction to your kids of like, hey, this is actually how to live well and how like how to prosper in this life. Like what I've learned in my generations, my 2 decades of almost 3. Wow. Almost
Old.
like 3 decades of life. Like, hey, this is actually going to help you severely if you
Yeah.
listen.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I can tell you everything that you would ever need to know, but if you don't listen, like,
Yeah.
your
Yes.
life's going to be whatever
Yeah,
it's
for
going to
sure.
turn out to. And, like, it's going to be at the whim of whoever you give that power to or,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
that attention or that focus. And so, like, I mean, all of Proverbs is riddled, like, hey, a good son does this.
Yeah.
Hey, like, this
Yeah,
is what a
it's
good son
true.
is. This
Yeah.
is what, like,
Yeah.
like, listen to my voice, not because it's rules, not because it's a like a demand in the sense of, I guess I like how Michael said it, like the alignment thing. If you're
Mhm.
in line with what I'm saying, it's actually going to help you live the best life you possibly can,
Mhm.
as well as like actually thrive and enjoy it.
Mhm.
You know, it's not
Yeah.
just like, oh, I followed the speed limit, therefore I should have a good life. It's
Right.
like,
Right.
no, I, the fear of the Lord comes in, right? Like,
Yeah.
speed limit's a great example. I'm going to go the speed limit because I know my wife is pregnant at home. And if I do something dumb right now, I could put her in jeopardy and that kid in jeopardy.
Mhm.
I'm going to choose to go the speed limit because that's actually a really good idea.
Yeah.
Right.
Versus I need to get to work.
Right.
Right.
Okay, well, let's get to work
Yeah.
safely instead of, so going back to what you actually asked,
No, that was a great tangent.
I felt a little empowered by it.
That was great.
Proverbs 16:1, we can make our own plans, but the Lord gives the right answer. He says it again in this chapter, but like the idea that we can actually do life without him completely, or we can give it all to him is
Yeah.
like such a unique balance that Proverbs always is like, you could, or you could, or you
Yeah,
could,
it's a
or you
choice.
could. You know, it's
Yeah.
like it's always available to go either way. And I think the
Yeah.
fear of the Lord highlights that dramatically.
It's so good. One of the things that I love that Michael said too was his mom had asked him, like, I think I'll butcher this story, so you really should just go back and listen to his message. But basically, his mom had asked him, like, oh, do you think you could ever become like a billionaire or something? And he was like, I think the better question is not like if I could, is like, does God have that for me? Like, should I?
Yeah.
And I think that ties in so good with that verse and the idea of like, we could do so. My favorite line from Michael's message was, am I trying or am I trusting? And with Proverbs, we see that you have a choice.
Yeah.
And you can do it all on your own, and you can go try to build something, and you probably can build something.
Yeah.
But what will the fruit of that be in
Yeah.
your life?
Yeah.
Exhaustion, burnout, stress, anxiety, worry, your family not
Yeah.
having any time with you, your kids feeling the lack of your presence, whatever that might be. Or you give it all to him and you trust him with the building, with the, what do you have for me? Instead of seeking like, what can I do? It's like, hey, what should I do that you have for me?
Or how should I do it?
How should I do it? In the wisdom of that, because he actually is he made all of this, so he's actually really good at building things. And so the answers that he can give us, how that actually, the fruit of that, of our family,
Yeah.
not living in stress, like how that affects our kids, I just think that's the good life. That is living in a way that's
That's so good.
applying Proverbs.
Yeah.
So it's so good. So if you guys are watching this in your home group, we don't want to take up too much of your time because we know that you guys are spending time together, hanging out, all the stuff. We'll be doing the same this Friday. And so we just want to leave you guys with a couple of questions that you guys can talk about in your group if you want to, or just to think about throughout the week if you watch this maybe and you're not in a home group. One of the questions is like, am I trying or am I trusting?
Yeah.
I think that is for me, that was a huge heart check where I was like, it's like there's definitely areas in my life where I'm trying versus trusting. So I think that's a great pause and kind of recenter. And then another another question was, where in my life have I allowed culture to inform my intelligence? This was a great question from Michael's message that also ties into the book of Proverbs. Where are we being informed by the wisdom of the Lord and the understanding and the fear of the Lord? Are we being informed by our culture, what chat says, what social media says? So that's also a good pause and indicator of, okay, where am I actually gaining my wisdom and my understanding from? And then the last one is, what should my response be? And the idea of that is, our response ultimately should be, trust in the Lord with all your heart and do not lean on your own understanding, which is Proverbs 3. And so, yeah, just that question of like, what is my response? I know what it should be, but is it there? Is it actually in the, I'm leaning on the Lord's understanding and not my own? Or is it like, right now, I don't think I'm doing that. So good pause for you guys. You can chat about it in your home group, or it's just good reflection questions to think about throughout your week. Like the big one again for me that I've been coming back to is, am I trying or am I trusting? So go ahead, chat about that in your group. You can put it in the comments below of like what stood out to you from the last 2 messages and what you're excited about to hear and learn about in the Good Life series as we dive into Proverbs. So that's all that we have for you this week. We'll see you guys next week on the regular, and have a great rest of your week.
And don't forget, I beat Dylan.